and welcome to another video from the DCGist. In this video we're going to be looking at output 9, the hard copy outputs from Solidworks. In particular we're going to be looking at the output 9 requirements, choosing the views of your design to put into your 3 pages, annotating those chosen views, and then laying out your output 9 in the most effective way to wrap up your project at the end. Okay, so let's take a look at the marking scheme then. Now, the first thing to note for output 9 is that there are 3 pages. Now, this is the only output with 3 pages, which makes it kind of unique in the project. Then what we have is we have 25 marks going for this output. Okay, so that's the second most amount of marks in the whole project after the output 4, 28 marks. But it is split over the 3 pages. Okay, so it's each page is somewhat similar to the rest of the assignment. Now, the actual marking scheme itself is a little bit difficult to follow. Okay, it's split up into 3 parts. Okay, so we have 5, 5, and 15, and where they are going for is we have the application of CAD skills is giving you 5 marks. We have the factor of difficulty in a model is giving you those second 5 marks, and then the hard copy outputs are giving you 15 marks. Okay. Now, in terms of this, the application of CAD skills and the factor of difficulty of the model, these 2 here are going for your part B model. Okay, so when you have designed your artifact and modeled it, there's 10 marks going for that. Okay, for the application of your CAD skills, and then for how difficult that model is to actually model in Solidworks. Then the 15 marks then are going for the hard copy outputs, which we're going to look at later. There are working drawings and there are photo view images that you're going to put in here, but that's where those marks are going. Now, the criteria for marking this is very similar to in other outputs, in that there are 5 different ones ranging from the best down to the worst. Okay, and you can see here that you get your 20 marks for your criteria considered, and your excellent presentation is worth 3 marks. Okay, so in this one your presentation is going to be worth 3. Okay, in there. Then down here at the bottom, the overall percentage of the student assignment marks given for output 9 is 15.6%. Okay, so it's a big part of the project, and the important thing about output 9 is that it needs to wrap up the whole project and show the progression that you've taken throughout the whole project, from the beginning where you analyze the original brief all the way to the end where you designed your own artifact. Now we'll have a look at the output 9 requirements that are outlined in the marking scheme. The first thing I want to say here about output 9 is that it's basically a combination of your output 5 and your output 6. Okay, it's a combination of those 2, but for your second artifact instead of your first artifact. Okay, and if you want more information about the drawings that you're going to put in, or the photo view images, you can go back and have a look at the videos from output 5 and output 6, and there'll be more information in those. So the requirements then, we have the detailed orthographic views of the proposed solution, okay, which is the same as in output 5. We have the section and detail views where appropriate. Again, that's in your output 5 as well. We have a render pictorial view of your CAD model, which is the same requirement as in output 5. We have photorealistic image, which is the same as in output 6. We have inclusion of main dimensions, notes, and symbols, which is very similar to output 5. Appropriate scaling, output 5, and effective layout and presentation is throughout the whole project. So you'll see here that the requirements are very similar to that output 5 and the output 6. And the way that we do this is very similar, but with a few key differences as to where we have the emphasis when we're writing in our annotations and when we're choosing our views. Now, what exactly do we need on the 3 pages of output 9? I split it up here into the 3 pages, and in terms of the views that go into these pages, it's not set in stone as to how many views you have to have on each page. You could have more than that I have here, but you don't want to have less. Okay, so if you have a few extra ones, that's absolutely fine, but you need to hit all of the points that I make here in this table. So page 1 and page 2, as I said, is very similar to output 5, and they are Solidworks drawings. Okay, you're going to have a dimension orthographic view, elevation plan, and end view of your artifact, exactly the same as in output 5. And then it changes slightly in terms of emphasis from what we looked at in output 5. So what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the requirements that we created in output 7. Okay, so we had the requirement 1 that we created in output 7. We have requirement 2 that was in output 7, 3, 4, and 5. Now, as I said to you when we were doing output 7, they are absolutely vital because they bring the whole project back to what you did from the beginning all the way to the end. Okay, and it means that you're showing that you have taken everything into account when designing your own artifact. Okay, so on the first page here I said to put requirement 1 and 2 and then put a part view. Now a part view will show the examiner that you have created your model correctly. Okay, now what that means is that in your model you should have different solid bodies. Okay, and what you can do is you can hide different solid bodies to show only small parts of your design, and that's what I'm saying there. So that's to hide some of your solid bodies in order to show that you have created it effectively and to show something in particular in your Solidworks model. Then on the second page, then we have a render pictorial view. Okay, and then we have the requirement 3, 4, and 5. Okay, if you have more space and you want to fit in extra, by all means put in extra. But for the pages in particular, these are what you need to have. Okay, and also make sure that you spell all of your stuff right. In output 9 then, page 3, what we're going to have is we're going to have photo view images. Okay, and this is very similar to output 6. Okay, in that we're going to be taking the photo view images in photo view 360 in Solidworks and then putting it onto our page. What you need to have for this is you need to have one large pictorial view, okay, in exactly the same way as you had in output 6. And then you're going to once again talk about your 5 requirements. Now what's important here is that the images that you use here, okay, are different, okay, different angles. You might be saying similar things, but you need to have different images, so not from the same angles, okay, to show off your requirements. You should be able to show your requirement 5 in one way over here and in a different way over here, okay. Then have an image of your favorite aspect. So you'll have one part of your design that you really like and you really want to show off to the examiner. So put an image in of that and explain that it is your favorite part and a part that you want to really show off. Just then, a quick note from Solidworks is to create display states and configurations for the views that you want for all of output 9, page 1, 2, and 3. Okay, it'll make your life a lot easier when it comes to creating this output. Then once you've chosen your views, as always, it's absolutely vital to put in the proper annotation to be able to tell the story of your design. Okay. With the Solidworks drawings, what you need to make sure is to say what type of view it is directly underneath. Okay, so it might be elevation, it could be plan, it could be detail view, whatever it is. And then use arrow annotation to justify your design solution and chosen view by explaining 3 things. Okay, what is it showing? Okay, how the shown design solution detail links with the 5 design requirements. Okay, so how exactly have you designed for those 5 requirements in each one of your annotations. So you'll only be focusing on one of those for each one of your images. And then why is your design solution the best available? Okay, and what you'll be talking about there is all of the things that you've learned throughout your project and your research and then in your comparison and all that. You'll be talking about that and why it is the best solution. Then in output 9, page 3 with the photo view images, you're going to be saying what is the image showing. Okay, so again, what is it showing? Why is the aspect that the image is showing important? Okay, so why is it important? And then how does the image link to the 5 design requirements made in the previous output? So again, very similar to the annotation in pages 1 and pages 2. Okay, you're always going back to those 5 requirements when you're putting in your annotation. So just a quick reminder then about the page format. Okay, you need to make sure that you have your border and you have your title block. Okay, with your output, your exam number and your student assignment. And then you need to make sure that you have the symbol for whichever one of the projection systems you're using. Now that'll be different depending on which one you're using, but that needs to go down beside the title block down here. You're going to have one of those symbols to show the examiner what type of projection system you're using. So now let's just take a quick look at some general photo viewpoints. So when you're creating your images, the first thing is that your photorealistic images need to be created using photo view, which is part of Solidworks. Okay, so you'll be able to find that there in the same way as you did in output 6. You can then do further editing in Photoshop or in GIMP if you like. It's not a requirement, but you can if you want. GIMP is an open source photo editing software. Okay, so that's free, and it has most of the functionality of Photoshop, but not all of it. But you won't really need all of it for editing these photographs. You don't have to do that though. It's only if you have some skill already in photo editing, that I'd say to do that. Then do multiple views to fully describe your artifact. You're not only going to have one photorealistic image, okay? You're going to have a number of them to make sure that you fully describe what's going on in your design. Make sure that you don't have any white space, okay? You haven't got that much room to show off your design, so use all the space that you have. Then the image quality and resolution is absolutely vital. You don't want to have any pixelated images, okay? You will lose marks for those. So the images become pixelated if you bring it in small and then you make it large. So you'll see the pixelation happens here. It doesn't happen if you bring it in large and then make it smaller, okay? So that's what you're trying to do. You want to create big images and then make those smaller. Then you can use the eDrawings app on iOS or Android for augmented reality. And what that does is it takes a picture of your design in the real world, okay, using the camera on your device and a small pad that you have to print out to put wherever you want to put your design. Then for the images, make sure that you create configurations and display states in Solidworks so that it's quick and easy to actually create these images, and you can create all the different angles that you like. So finally then we'll have a look at how I would suggest laying out your output 9. Okay, we'll look at the 3 pages starting off with our page 1. So the first thing is I put orthographic views up here in the top left and making sure that they are dimensioned. Okay, we need to make sure dimensions are in there and that they're labeled properly. Then I put in requirement 1 and requirement 2 with its annotation. Okay, so they'll be your detail views showing off each one of those requirements. And again, as well as the views, you want to make sure that the annotation is relevant and is good to explain what you're trying to show. Now, I've given quite a bit of space for your requirements there. You could have more than one detail view if you want. It's not a requirement of the output 9. You only need one, but maybe you might want to show off exactly everything you want to show. And then you have a part view, which I explained before, was where you have different solid bodies and you hide one or more of them to show off your design, okay? And that will show how well you've created your Solidworks model, because you'll be able to hide those different parts. As always, just make sure that you bear in mind that you'll have a Solidworks branding down in the bottom left and you'll have your title block down in the bottom right. The Solidworks branding will come when you print off your output 9 page 1 and page 2. Output 9 page 2 then, we'll have a render pictorial view. Gives that a lot of space because having a big view of your design is a really nice thing to have on this page, and make sure that you put in annotation in there as well, okay? And then the other 3 requirements are split up the rest of the page. So we have requirement 3, requirement 4 and requirement 5, and again with your annotation explaining why you've put in the images that you have and how they relate back to your requirements that you created in output 7. And again, your Solidworks branding down in the bottom corner in your title block. Finally then, output 9 page 3, we're going to have a large pictorial view in the middle, okay? And then your requirements with your annotation around the side, okay? So you'll have a large image in the middle and you'll have smaller images with your annotation in each one of the boxes around here. Now you don't have to draw the boxes around them, but you can if you like. And again, this is just a suggested layout. You could lay it out whatever way you like. Then down here in the bottom right, I have the favorite aspect of the design, okay? And that is just to show off what you're really proud of with your design if it doesn't actually fit into one of those 5 requirements, okay? It might be the shape, it could be the size, it might be something you really like about it, and put it in there and say why exactly you chose it and why it's your favorite part in the annotation part of that image. That brings us to the end of this video on output 9 and to the end of the videos for the student assignment. I really hope you enjoyed all of the videos that I'm after creating for the student assignment, from output 1 to output 7, and the complementary videos that go alongside with them. If you did, please subscribe to the channel on YouTube for more videos in the future. You can also find more information at thedcgist.com, where you'll find videos and study guides. And you can also follow the DCGist at the DCGist on Twitter or on facebook.com/the DCGist for the latest news about the channel and also about DCG in general. Thanks again for listening. If you have any questions, just make sure to put them in the comments below and I will answer them as soon as I can. Best of luck with your Output 9 and I'll see you later.